time, on a beautiful autumn afternoon, a young prince put on his cape and boots and went out to take a walk in the woods. Did you ever notice how so many stories take place in the woods? I wonder why that is. When he came to a cool spring of water, he sat down to rest for a while. The prince had brought his favorite toy with him, a golden ball. He was always tossing it up into the air and catching it again as it fell. Up into the air and back down. Up into the air and down. Up and down. You get the idea. He was pretty good at it since he practiced so often. Well, after a while, he threw it up so high that he missed catching it. Whoops! The ball bounced away and rolled along the ground until at last it fell down into the water. The prince looked into the spring for his ball, but it was very deep, so deep that he could not see the bottom. He became sad and said, "Aw, drats! If only I could get my golden ball again, I would give all my fine clothes and jewels and everything that I have in the world." While he was speaking, a frog poked its head out of the water and said, "Prince, why are you sad? Perhaps I can help you." "My golden ball has fallen into the spring. It was my favorite toy, and now I have lost it forever. What could you possibly do to help me?" the prince responded. The frog said, I could maybe get you your ball. I am a frog that can swim after all, silly. But I would need a favor in return. I do not want your pearls, jewels, and fine clothes. But if you show me kindness, let me live in the castle, eat delicious feasts, and ride in the royal carriage, then I will swim down and retrieve your golden ball. What? Is this talking frog serious? Thought the prince. Live in the castle? No way! Then the prince had a selfish thought. But this is just a frog. It could surely never make it all the way to the castle by itself, but if it can fetch my ball, I will just tell it what it wants to hear. So he said to the frog, "Okay, if you return my golden ball to me, I promise I will do all that you have asked." With the prince's word, the frog dove headfirst deep under the water. After a little while, it came up again with the ball in its mouth and threw it to the edge of the spring. As soon as the prince saw his golden ball, he ran to pick it up. He was overjoyed to have it in his hand again and paid no attention to the frog. He didn't even say thank you. You would think a prince would have better manners. He ran home with his ball as fast as he could, leaving the frog behind at the pond. The frog called after him, "Come back, prince, and take me with you as you promised." But the prince did not listen. That poor frog! It helped the prince, and the prince just left it there. The next day, just as the prince sat down to dinner, he heard a strange noise. Tap, tap, splash, splash. It sounded like something was coming up the marble front steps. Then there was a gentle knock at the door, and a strange little voice cried out, "Open the door, my prince dear. Open it for your friend here. Remember the promise you made to me before I saved your ball for thee?" You don't think? It couldn't be. The prince ran to the door and opened it, and there he saw the frog. "Impossible!" yelled the prince. At this sight, he was sadly frightened. He slammed the door as fast as he could and hurried back to his seat. His father, the king, my son?" the king asked. "There is a slimy frog at the door," he said. "It lifted my golden ball out of the spring yesterday, and I told it it could live in the castle. I did not think it would ever be able to get out of the pond, but there it is at the door, and it wants to come in." While he was speaking, the frog knocked again and said, "Open the door, my prince dear. Open it for your friend here. Remember the promise you made to me before I saved your ball for thee?" Then the king said to the young prince,
"If you gave your word, you must keep your promise. Go and let it in."
The prince did what his father told him to do and let the frog in. The frog hopped into the room and went straight ahead to the table and waited next to the prince's chair. "Please lift me onto this chair," the frog said to the prince, "and let me sit beside you." "Blah!" the prince muttered. But the king looked at him sternly, and so he did as the frog requested. "Thank you," said the frog. It turns out it was a very polite frog. "Please, prince, put your plate closer to me so that I may eat from it," the frog said. "Blah!" again said the prince, but the prince still did as it requested. When the frog had eaten as much as it could, it said, "Thank you, thank you. Now I am so tired. Please carry me upstairs and put me in a huge soft bed." The prince sighed and very unwillingly carried the slimy frog to a castle room by 1 foot and put it upon the pillow of a large guest bed where it slept all night long. Ribbit, 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 ribbit. Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. As soon as the sun rose, the frog jumped up, hopped downstairs, and left the castle. "Woohoo! Yeah!" celebrated the prince. "Now then, at last, the frog is gone and shall trouble me no more." But he was mistaken, for when night came again, he heard the same tapping at the door. "Open the door, my prince dear. Open it for your friend here. Remember the promise you made to me before I saved your ball for thee?" When the prince opened the door, yep, you guessed it, it was the frog. The frog came in, and same as before, it ate from his plate, and it slept upon the pillow in the large guest bed until morning. And on the third night, it did the same. And on the fourth, and on the fifth. But by the fifth night, the prince had grown fond of the frog and its company, and had become grateful of his father's lesson to keep his word. He went to sleep happy at the thought of more nights to come with his unlikely friend. When the prince awoke on the following morning, he was astonished to see, instead of the frog, a beautiful princess. She was standing at the foot of his bed and smiling at him with the most beautiful smile he had ever seen. What? The slimy frog was really a beautiful princess the whole time? Can you believe it? She told him she had been enchanted by a spiteful fairy who had changed her into a frog. She had been cursed to remain a frog until a prince would show her kindness by letting her live in his castle, eat from his plate, and sleep upon a big soft bed for 5 nights. You have broken the fairy's cruel charm with your kindness. I hope you will come with me to my mother's kingdom, where she will be so grateful that you helped me. We will be friends always, and I will be grateful to you for as long as I live. The young prince did not take long to say yes to all this, and soon a sparkling coach arrived with 8 beautiful horses, decked with plumes of feathers and a golden harness. princess turned towards the prince, bowed, grabbed the handle of the coach, and said with a smile, "I open the door, my prince dear. I open it for you, my true friend here. You fulfilled the promise you made to me before I saved your ball for thee." The prince smiled. Then he and the princess stepped into the coach, and full of joy and merriment and friendship, they set out for the princess's kingdom. And they remained friends happily forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. The end. I guess the moral of the story is, even if someone is a little slimy on the outside, they might be quite beautiful on the inside. And a little kindness can bring great things, like everlasting friendship. Yeah, I like that.